Hello guys, welcome to the Trading Parrot. The price action has been coming straight into the CME Gap. In today's video, we're going to look on whether the price can continue going to the top of this channel. We will review what could be that target in terms of price, and we're going to prepare also a bearish case in case we break down below support. I'll cover also an analysis on the open interest. There's something really cool that could play out in this area of the 16 to 17 billion. Make sure that you don't miss that. Of course, I'll give you an update on the megaphone pattern. We had quite a bearish engulfing candle, so I want you to be aware of the outcomes of that as well. Guys, if you like this type of content, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, hit the notification bell so you get notified every time I put out one of these videos. And yes, guys, let's get to over 100 likes in every single video. Whenever you do that, it's massive, the results that we are getting in this channel. We are growing. I really appreciate that. Let's get started with the CME Gap that we built over the weekend. You can see that it's a very narrow CME Gap, barely $200. And it was all the motivation that the price needed to come from these lows of 57.5 going back up. I'm still interested in the CME Gap that we left last week. It was built on Tuesday and it spanned from 60.5 all the way to 61.9. And although we took almost all of it, we still have $300 that is untaken. And in my opinion, this is still attracting the price. Some people are thinking that it has been fully taken just because on the left-hand side, we can see that there is a wick to the downside. But those don't count because the CME Gap is built based on the candle before and the candle after. Prior to that, it doesn't really matter. We got the same happening in here. We have a wick in there overlapping with the gap that was just built. But again, it doesn't mean that it has been taken because that is price action that happens in the past. Let's look at the daily. You can see that after we broke down below in here, confirming that the move from 49K into almost 65K was just at the bounce, which is something that we were fearing and handling as a possibility when we were doing videos in the past week. We broke down below it on the 4-hour first, followed by the daily, and we seem to be forming some sort of pivot in here, which is why I'm placing this trend line just to see if the 57K will actually turn out to become a strong pivot and potentially allowing us to travel all the way to the top of the triangle at an RSI of 54, or if we're going to see a failure breaking below this trend line and potentially targeting the next areas of liquidity. Just as a spoiler, the next one is 54K, and we're going to look into how much liquidity there is there. In terms of the daily price action, we can see that we made a close lower than the one we had mid-August. There's a lot of price action that is currently tempting people to turn really bearish. I just want to highlight that we have quite a build-up of fair value gaps immediately above the price. We will look into detail later to the ones that are even higher. At the moment, the price is bouncing nicely because we just took a quite substantial amount of liquidations from 57 and 100, which is the reason why I decided to fill another order at that price. Make sure that you're following me on Twitter if you want to closely keep an eye on what I'm doing. My handle is Trading Parrot. On the 4-hour time frame, we are currently seeing how the price is bouncing from that 57, building quite an interestingly bullish candle here that could be interpreted by many people observing this trend line on the price as a breakout. That breakout should have as a target this area of 59K where there is an order block if it was to succeed. Of course, this is a 4-hour candle and we need to also consider the case that it gets sold out back below the resistance and it continues going lower into our next areas of liquidity, starting with 54K and followed by 48 to 46K. But if this 4-hour candle was to close above this, we get quite a high chance that we go for 59. You can see how the 4-hour RSI is currently breaking out. The candle starts from below and now is above, but there's still 27 minutes to confirm this breakout. I also wanted to do an analysis on the CPR monthly because we just closed the month of August and we have new levels for September. If we get very bearish, we could reach 33.2K. That's the lowest level of support of the CPR model, and the highest is 83.2. Notice how the whole range has moved down from the one we had in August. The August price action relative to the CPR levels was very interesting. We dropped below the pivots and then we kept the pivots pretty much for the whole month as resistance, with the exception of 23rd of August until 27th of August. Just 4 days that we were attempting to break above and target the 72K. Unfortunately, the bearishness of people thinking about September won the race and completely broke this breakout, turning it into a failed one and then breaking below this trend line. I just continue thinking that there will be some sort of fake out in September. And for that reason, I decided to conduct a poll on YouTube and Twitter to see how bearish are people. And you can see that only 32% of people are currently bullish, which is very low. And if we focus on the results from Twitter, that is only 28.8%. There's quite a strong consistency among traders thinking that is very low likely that we're going to see green in September. We ended up closing the month of August with a price close of 58.7, which is the lowest close that we can see in the past 6 months. Something very similar to what we observe in this area in here, again, August and September. You can tell that we finally have a lower close than the ones that we have in June. And after that, we have a very small green candle, but this one is the one that anticipates a move of 170%. And I'm not guaranteeing that's going to happen, but I'm saying that it could still happen. A green candle somewhere in here, maybe not that big, that could be the pivot that we need to get once again to hit the highs and potentially put out a new all-time high. We need to keep our eyes on this breakout here on the trend line. If we touch all the points from the top of the RSI 4-hour, having a look at the open interest of the past 6 months tells me that we are in the same area where we typically had bearish price action followed by a reversal. You can tell by these areas that I'm circling in here, same happened on 49. At least we went to 65K. So we're back there, and it's a decision time for Bitcoin to whether explore for the first time in quite a long time this area of the open interest that belongs to prices of 48K, or if we're going to pivot from here once again back into the top of the range, like we did in here, and in here. No news in terms of accumulation, deposits, and withdrawals. I still interpret these charts as the whales are interested in accumulating, whereas short-term holders and small wallets are interested in selling their Bitcoin. Our megaphone pattern, so far, I cannot say that is broken, unfortunately. We are in the plan B, we are in the yellow path. We came to the bottom of the megaphone, bounced back up in here. We are in the process of finding where is this low going to end up being. Is it going to be at 57 and then pivot back up? Or is it going to go to 54 and pivot back up? Or are we going to get a 46 and eventually a pivot later? Or are we going to break that 46 and find way lower prices? I think that is low likely, but we have to admit we are in the world of trading and anything is possible. And if I start thinking that's where we are going, I will probably make a video, but make sure that you're following me on my Twitter account. My handle is Trading Parent. I am on holidays. I have very little access to internet. In fact, today's video, I'm recording it from a co-working space that I managed to find in the center. The internet where I'm staying really sucks. It doesn't allow me to load any charts, neither to edit this video. So I had to take a little bit of a break to put out this video. Make sure you hit the like if you appreciate that. Let's cover the weekly RSI time frame. Unfortunately, it's not as good as I was expecting it to be. On the RSI weekly, we ended up putting a low in here, which is less than a point lower. We still have a chance that we eventually end up hitting this level of 50 and breaking above the yellow dotted trend line. But right now, the picture is not as clean because I wanted to see a pattern like this in a breakout. And instead of that, now it's looking like a higher low, but then a lower low, and the risk starts increasing a little bit higher than the one we had in August. We broke below the daily support. And if we were able to close back above 59K, we will recover that daily support, and this area in here will be seen as a liquidity graph, and that will turn it into bullish. But it's too early to say. We need to wait for the daily close. And let's review once again, where is the liquidity? On the upside, we have a little bit at 61K, very small. The biggest one in the range from 70 to 50K is the one at 67K, which is currently almost 8K above where we are. Whereas if we were to drop from here, it will only take about 4.5K to hit the next large area of liquidity, which is located at 54K. Now, even though these areas of liquidity look pretty big because they are in the red and we are in the swing chart on trading different 4-hour time frame, if we start expanding this and including areas a little bit further away, you can see that the first one that stands out is the 46 to 48K located below the price. And as we include more areas from the top, we got the 73 to 76K being quite heavy as well. In terms of fair value gaps, we are getting too heavy on the top end, meaning that is going to eventually start attracting the price. We don't know when and how, 100%, we cannot guarantee it, but I'm pretty sure that the market maker has that in consideration and is currently deciding whether they have managed to capture enough shorts to eventually push the price back up when they have zero confidence that the price is going to go higher. And that is kind of what we are trying to understand and to get that hedge. Below the price, we only have the 56K when looking just purely at the fair value gaps. And below that, the price will have to do a massive jump from 55.4 into 47 to go for the next fair value gaps located below. And I have to be honest, one of the things that has most of my attention right now to turn into a great entry is this particular chart from High Block Capital that is showing me the global longs and shorts accounts on Binance. And whenever it goes above 70, I pay attention. That's usually when we are dumping in the price. Price is going down, like in areas like here. And as soon as it comes out from the 70, the price starts recovering. And we can see that strategy has played out quite nicely. I don't use it as a go all in on the signal. I DCA into it. It has proven that the price tends to bounce back up right after. We've been in an area with extremely red funding rates, and whenever they get too heavy, the price starts bouncing back up, punishing those excessive levels of shorts. I'm going to continue monitoring this signal. Hopefully in a day or two, it's going to print a buy. If it does, I might not necessarily be able to publish it on a video just because of the limited access to internet that I currently have, in which case I will go definitely for Twitter. And guys, thank you so much for all the views and all the likes that you put on the video on Saturday. Your likes are really helping the channel to grow. And if you don't believe me, most of my videos get numbers of around hundreds of views. And yes, this is the first time I make a video about Bitcoin TA, and it makes 4.3K. I'm completely shocked with the statistics, and I hope that you can help me continuing to get over 100 likes in all the videos. That's really helping the channel.